food together. It completely changed my mindset about how we resolve challenges and crises in Africa. But we watched and saw how people came and began the path of healing to change their narrative again. I wondered how that happened. And today, 10 years down the line, Rwanda is on the map as one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing nation in Africa economically, and showing us the way. There's so much to learn. How did that narrative change? What happened that they could forge such an identity for themselves and become such an example where out of the ashes we are seeing a new picture of a nation? A few days ago, we were all thrilled by the story of, or by the news of a young 43-year-old man, a prime minister of Ethiopia, becoming a Nobel laureate of peace. April, he became prime minister, 2019. But look at what he has done. His father was a Muslim. His mother was a Catholic. He's a Pentecostal. And the first thing he did was to make peace with their sister nation, Eritrea. And then he started to unify the Muslims and the Christians and the tribes together. He set free all the political prisoners and began to forge a new narrative for Ethiopia and giving them a new lease of life. When I look at that and the question before us today, to forge a national identity, something is clear from the success story out of Africa. I know we can go back and look at a place like Singapore and have a story from Lee Kuan Yew. But I'm looking for answers for Nigeria. But clearly what I can see is that that initiative was taken, or those initiatives were taken by visionary leaders. You can't put that burden on the people on the street. They can't handle changing and forging a narrative for Nigeria. Whether you're in political office or not, if you are a leader with vision, we can affect, we can initiate, and we can forge a new line and a narrative for our people. Some had been done over the period of nearly over 20 years. But what do you say about the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Ahmed, who in a few months, not even up to 1 year, has made such an impact globally that a lot of excuses we have are thrown out of the window? 43 years old, youngest prime minister and leader of a nation in Africa today. And yet he has blazed a trail. So it tells me something can happen in our nation to be able to forge a national identity. So when we think of Rwanda today, we don't think of genocide, it's secondary. We begin to think of the first nation to start the manufacture of smartphones and a lot more that is happening. We think of Ethiopia, we see a person who is finding unity amongst his people and forging it. And we think of Nigeria, largely divided today. I like what the compere said. What do you think when you think? What comes to your mind when you think of China? What comes to your mind when you think of Nigeria? I believe without a shadow of a doubt that we can have something better than corruption when we think of Nigeria or a divided people. All of these things we are thinking of. I believe that initiating and fostering a national identity is primarily the job of strong visionary leaders who cultivate both people and systems through deliberate policies and implementation that result in clear and recognizable patterns of development in the nation. What is identity? I believe that identity is recognition and definition of an entity, expression, or phenomena. Identity connects content and composition. That is who we are, with purpose, objective and destination. That is what we do. National identity refers to a convergence and a unified perspective of people in a nation that recognizes and defines and emphasizes their commonality rather than divergences. I was asked the question about the impact also of something like transparency and also accountability. I want to say that transparency means visibility, accessibility, exposure and revelation to facts, knowledge and experience. I saw that as I interacted with the leaders of Rwanda, where truth had to be made bare, open. There had to be transparency for healing to take place. Until we can see what our problem is and accept it, it's not going to help us. I was asked a question as a pastor. They said, we have been repenting for the bad things we did. Why is it? When are we going to be all right? Sorry. When are we going to be all right? And I said that repentance is not about being sorry. It's about dismantling the structure that brought about the failure in the first place. Saying you are sorry, saying you are sorry. And until we get to that point in Nigeria, where our tolerance level for the mess we find ourselves, which is zero, we can't change anything. We will find a way when we do. And I believe that standing before us today is a challenge that is surmountable. Have we reached zero tolerance? If we haven't, we will make more excuses. But I believe that this country, this room has the people that can make all the difference. If one man can do what he did at the age he did in Ethiopia, and one man can do something in Rwanda, one man can do what he did in Singapore, I believe in this room we have more than one man or one lady. I think that the decision really is ours. There's a critical mass that needs to move forward to do this. And if we will allow that transparency and accountability, which has to do with our values, which I think is the biggest issue we have had to face in Nigeria, the crumbling of our values. So we excuse so much and we make a comedy out of tragedies. Then I think that we will be able to move forward and get somewhere. I believe that in moving forward for Nigeria, we need to resolve the crisis of leadership, of integrity, of competence, of vision, of excellence. I think we need to resolve the crisis of having purpose and structure that comes with direction and purpose. I believe that also to move forward, Nigeria needs to deal with the crisis of knowledge, of skill and capacity as a basis of growth and progress. And fourthly, I think that we need to resolve the crisis of identity and worth. We will never all be the same tribe. We grew up with all kinds of mindsets and worldviews. Many of these things won't change until the leadership takes command of the direction. And I believe that it lies in our being able to respect, to honor and dignify one another and demand the best of one another. We will never be the same, but we will have to respect the fact that what we desire, every other people group have the same right to desire those things. Fifthly, we need to deal with the crisis of unity and synergy. Rather than uniformity, unity is the coexistence, cooperation, and coalition of diversities. And sixthly, I believe we need to deal with the crisis of responsibility, accountability, and authority. We need to check again and revisit our values, the rule of law and the enforcement of order, which is justice. And justice is the right administration of judgment. And finally, I think that for Nigeria to move forward, to chart a future for itself, we need the determination and the will, the confidence and the courage. We talk so much about these things in the social media, but like I said, until our tolerance level to the mess around us reaches zero, we will keep excusing it. The determination and will, we will find a way to move ahead. Thank you.